Boom.
Ellie, get off your phone.
And
What?
action.
Get off your phone.
I can't believe there's no more red by my dang
Come on, where are you
voicemails.
going? What are you doing?
It's clean.
I just cleaned out
I
38
know.
of her voicemails.
But now she's got
Really?
like 127 on an email and then
She's got
4,000.
4,000 on her other email.
It's
4,000.
That's
busy.
being abandoned. You need
It's
to shut
busy.
that down.
Things are
Shut
busy.
that down.
It's busy, or I don't know. Maybe that says something about organization, El.
Nah, not at all. Nah.
Yeah.
We got some backlog here.
Cluttered
Do you-
brain.
Do you get rid of your email? Like,
So I was just telling her, to be real about why there's 4,000 in there, is so when I was doing real estate back in Florida, the organization sends out, they have to have your real email, and they send out email blasts daily, like important
Right.
things that are going on. So they probably send 100 a day. And I don't even look at that email anymore. So now
So
if
get
there's
rid
real-
of
a
it.
day,
So get rid of that
'cause
email.
it has other, pertinent information.
but
How
you're
often
not
would you
reading
check
any of the
that?
information.
Delete your emails.
I feel like she's still attached to that.
Yeah.
Someone needs to
like
go
a-
in there
you're
something
and just
deeper
cuss
here.
her.
You're a phone hoarder.
No, don't
You're a
even.
hoarder.
I am
Phone
not. I have a hard
hoarder.
time to
I think that's gotta be
think
like
it's a new thing.
It's a new
burn
thing.
it. It's fine.
You
Then
got too
delete
much
it. I don't
stuff
care.
on your phone.
Diagnosis by Rich Froning.
Delete it.
You're
Delete
a
it.
phone hoarder.
But both my emails are connected to that.
I think
so.
that is
first,
actually a problem. Like that actually creates anxiety.
so first,
Right.
first question
Look,
is.
we know how you can get better now.
First question is: do you have red? Can you handle red on your phone or no? Are you don't even have like one
No.
notification?
I hate
No,
it.
for reals, I don't like it. If it's red,
Yeah.
I want to. Are you that way?
It's the wrong
I
way.
hate it.
Yeah.
I can't handle it.
Yeah.
As soon as if I'm like before training, like in the morning, like I'll check it. I'll make sure I'm updated.
That's the
Yeah.
old.
And then say like I'm halfway through the day, I'm like, whoa, what is that? And I go to look it, but I'm like, no, I'm actually doing something right now.
Yeah.
It'll be playing on my mind.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, oh, I just need to check it, make sure I just am
Yeah.
on top of it.
Yeah.
Because what if that person on the other end is like waiting on me?
Right. I get
know?
it. I don't like anything that's red, and I always trash all my emails when I don't need them. I have to organize all that.
What did you just delete?
I hate social
Old
media.
Gmail
My-
app.
Well, if anyone needs to get in touch with me via
Did you
email,
just- what'd
it's
you do?
gone.
I deleted her Gmail app.
If-
you know
if
you can
anyone
put
has
them
emailed
here and
Ellie-
only the ones that you want. And you still have 127
Well, so
emails
you
in
know-
that email.
Thank
how
you.
does that
This
even-
doesn't make me feel better about
You just got
having
rid
you
of
work with us.
4,147 things in my life. I appreciate that.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you. I feel so much lighter.
And you actually have like a email that's kind of
Yeah, I don't know what
you're
that
all
is. Some of
midway
these
through
things I
your
just-
email. so
Ooh, I don't know what that is.
You can add emails to that.
I
So
hope
whatever.
they're not waiting on you.
You guys are just changing my life.
So why don't you just delete that right here, right now?
You guys want me to just
Hey,
get rid of my
listen,
phone?
take a step forward. Be better.
Come into
Delete
the light
it now.
Come
You
into the
guys.
light.
Yes.
What is it Jordan Peterson
it
says?
go.
Just start your day off. Do
Right.
something. Like
Absolutely.
Clean it up.
Oh, goodness. I'm already
Get
feeling
rid
better.
of some of the chaos in your life,
After
El.
this, we're just getting rid of all of it.
We're gonna do a
Your
roast
traps,
to Ellie.
like,
This
look
is
a
no
little
longer.
less like-
I feel better.
This
Thanks
is
for
no
that.
longer a
You can keep
podcast
doing
with
that.
Tia.
That was
This
good.
is an intervention.
Yes,
This is what it
it
is. An intervention.
What's that?
I feel like the last couple of
traveled
podcasts have kind of been that
Halfway
way.
around the world just to give you an intervention.
Yeah, what's that meme? It's like when you walk into a room and there's a small group of your close friends in a circle waiting for
Right.
you.
That's what this is,
About to get
actually.
real.
Listen, let's just be honest. We brought her all the way from Australia to
She's
help
not
you.
here for the game.
This is
She's
how much
here
we
to
love
help
you.
you.
So
What
is
do you
this-
think she's been here for?
So is this back to another thing we lie to ourselves about? That like my phone was organized? So the other day,
You thought
Tia-
your phone was organized?
I mean, remember? Because he put it into files. It used to not be in these little
No,
Rich
it
did
used
the
to
little
be
sections
Actually,
for it.
worse
this is
than
an
that.
interesting topic because this is something that comes up with Shane and I. He always thinks that I don't have a well-structured app.
He organized mine because mine was not well structured.
Really? How do you organize your apps?
See how we did
I
mine.
have like a media section. I have.
So he gave me
hold on.
media, work, fitness, utilities, banking, Jesus, and
Yeah.
travel.
Jesus.
That's for my Jesus apps.
Oh, your Jesus apps. Okay.
So
Not like Jesus is
I
in
got
there.
you.
Like,
I was like, how do you have
interesting.
Jesus on your phone?
So how are yours?
Shane's left-handed.
Oh,
Now,
that sucks.
he always has like all of his important apps like this way, whereas like that doesn't work for me because I'm right-handed.
Right.
But I don't look at it like that. I look at, okay, what do I use the most? So I
Right.
want them up top, but I've got a like a photo that I want to keep there and I want to actually visually see it.
Is that all you have?
Well,
I was gonna
no.
say that's all.
okay.
It's all
See,
her.
then
Okay.
they're all the ones that I don't really need, like Facebook or,
Right.
you know,
Me too. That's my picture. That's
Oh,
when we
that's
first
a-
won the games.
that's a great one. But see, you can kind of see that. But
Yeah.
whereas if
Well,
I
I
had
wouldn't
all
cover
my
it up, yeah.
apps there,
Let's not look at that page.
yeah. And then like I've got like, you know, pages of like just things like I don't even use them.
Right.
But like Shane's always like, oh, you
That is
never have
interesting,
a
the right
good
and the left.
structure of your apps. I'm like,
He's just
Shane,
he's coaching you up on your apps.
terrible. Like, who cares?
Like,
He's
we're
got
all
all
right.
aspects of your life covered, right? Like, it's not just fitness.
the worst
Do you let me
is-
see your phone?
The worst is when if you like for some reason your phone was left open and it accidentally moves one of your apps.
Oh, no.
And so
And then
everything's
every
off,
time
and
you
you're
go
like
back,
you're
it's
used to
like-
always going to that one spot. So mine are. I only have one page of apps,
That's it.
Okay.
and like I have Apple, I have sports, I have media, tools, travel, extras, whatever. And then the ones that I use a lot more, I just have their larger tag.
You're a riff
Yeah.
raff.
Yeah.
What's the Rogue app?
It's the
Actually,
Rogue app.
Yeah.
What do
you,
they do?
You like
It's pretty
go
cool.
shopping on it.
Yeah.
Ooh.
It's actually really cool. Yeah.
like
it's
barbell
quite-
shopping.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like
Yeah,
Whatever
equipment.
you want.
It's Rogue's apps website.
Wow, that's kind of.
It's like
oh,
super-
Hey, that's
Super
kinda cool.
easy. And it's in your
Continuous guest.
account. So if you want to create like a
So you guys both
like
have
an
the Rogue
order.
app.
Pardon?
You guys both have the Rogue
We're
app.
both
Yeah.
Rogue
Jim,
athletes.
do you have the Rogue app?
I do not.
I think we're missing out here. I think we need the Rogue app.
Yeah.
You're totally missing out on that
What,
one.
what kind of
Something
fitness
is not
equipment do I
right
need
here.
that I
I'm
don't
gonna
have
get the
right
Rogue
now?
app.
You
Holy
have a lot
mackerel.
of things that you don't have.
What? Like
you know,
what?
at your house?
Coming from the human being who literally has every piece of equipment on the planet.
Yeah. Not every piece. Lots of pieces.
What don't you have?
Most of the pieces. Is there anything you don't have that you want?
He'll get it in like a minute.
Yeah.
Rogue's
I
gonna
don't
be like,
think so.
oh yes.
Well, he's got the app.
Is there anything?
I think there's a few strongman things that you
Yeah.
don't have.
Yeah, there's a few.
Yeah.
Like the log. I don't have the log.
That doesn't look
Yeah.
fun.
Like, you know, where you'll like pick it up. It's like a real
yeah.
big
Oh
fat,
yeah. The
fat
circle
one.
thing.
Do they have like, you know, strongman, they actually walk in circles? What's that called? I don't even know.
They're holding something though.
Mm.
So you need the
You
thing that
walk
they
in
hold when they walk in
circles. It's like
circles.
an event.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
I don't have that one.
I've seen
Maybe
him like
I've actually made that up.
He's making stuff up.
it only happens in Australia, maybe.
Australian strongman.
Yeah. I mean, you still need batting cages, like indoor skydiving, some other stuff like that.
That would be
Trampoline.
cool.
Indoor
Planes.
skydiving?
I wasn't
Yeah, like
impressed
a-
with indoor
I've
skydiving.
actually never done.
Really?
That's in
Yeah.
that like cage?
Yeah.
You know,
I've
our
never-
teammate
I like-
Kristen
never
used to
done that.
teach it.
I like regular skydiving or liked regular skydiving when I went, but indoor skydiving I wasn't. I don't know.
That was
I
pretty
didn't have as much
amazing.
How-
Like it's
Have
a
you
big
been
wind
skydiving too?
tunnel.
Yeah.
You have?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It is awesome. Like when we finished,
Jim.
I was like, I want to get my ticket.
Oh,
In
yeah.
Australia?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
But like you got to do so many hours.
By ticket you mean certification.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
Golden
like
ticket.
Language barrier.
so that we could like say what?
I said language barrier.
Yeah.
Jim has a whole bunch of these for us.
Oh, well, we can get them out. Yeah.
Yeah. I want to hear. Sorry, go
You
on.
should actually put through like at the very end of this like just like the different wording.
We should put subtitles every time you talk. In
do
English.
subtitles.
In English.
Well, so Jim came up to me this morning and was like,
that's
"Do you know what
terrible.
this is?" And I was like, my eyes got this big, and I was like,
All right, we need-
don't even have a tiny parallel to
Let's
what
see
that
here.
could possibly be."
Arvo,
Yeah, afternoon.
the afternoon.
Arvo?
Arvo.
Yeah,
So
I'll
you
see
just-
you this Avi. Oh, this Avi?
Oh, this afternoon?
This afternoon.
okay.
Oh, the Savi.
Ah, that would need a
In the
subtitle.
Arvo. In
What?
the Arvo. So-
Bottle
In
O.
the afternoon.
What?
Bottle O.
Oh, Bottle-O. So to
Bottle-O.
the pub.
Bottle pub.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
it
like,
sounds so
to
much
the-
more exciting when she says
Yeah.
it, though. Hello.
Bottle-O.
Hey, I want you to try to say these in an Australian accent.
Yeah.
Me?
Yeah.
It's just going to turn into pirate. I can't do an accent. It just turns into pirate.
Well, let's hear it.
Chalkers.
Chockers?
I don't
Yeah,
chockers.
like chockers. Like, oh man, like
Chockers.
my arms are full. Like they're chockers.
Oh,
Chockers.
chocked full.
Fair dinkum.
Jim,
Oh.
that's
I
not
can't do
I
that.
don't
Australian.
think they use their R's. Fair dinkum. Fair dinkum.
Fair dinkum.
Like, oh really? Fair dinkum. Like, really?
That's good. Thank him. Let me use that.
I thought this one was funny. I'm going to root for my favorite team.
Yeah, like
Root.
Yeah.
We say
like,
root?
Root
Yeah,
is
like-
a different word according to this.
Oh.
Yeah, like
What is
like
it?
I'm going for like I'm gonna cheer for them.
Yeah,
No,
that's
Yeah,
our
but
normal.
that's not what this
no,
says
that's
root
not
means.
what he says
Oh.
it means.
Oh yeah.
It means
Actually,
having sex.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. But that's really funny. But like I just assumed that like everyone kind of
Said that?
they figured like it could come across in both ways.
Huh.
Because like I actually hear a lot of people say like, "Oh, I'm rooting for you," and I'm in my head I'm like,
No, you're not.
Pervert.
No, you're not.
Sicko.
like there was actually a couple of times like 3 days ago or something, and I was the only one that kind of like I felt like giggled, and then I'm thinking, "Oh, Tia, get your head out of the gutter."
That's good.
Let's see. A ripper.
Oh, like that's a ripper of a day. Like,
ripper.
Yeah.
oh, that's
Ripper.
like really cool.
Oh, this one, I saw this one on some social media. The lady from CrossFit or
Bogan.
Bogan.
So it's
They
like
compared you guys
so
to
like-
rednecks.
Yeah.
Who did?
Mariah.
Called us rednecks?
Yeah,
well.
but it was like more so like a bogan. I suppose is like the American redneck, but I mean you get different types of rednecks. I'm
Right, oh,
assuming
yeah,
you
same,
know you
yeah.
get different types. It's probably just like a country person. Like
Right.
like
You actually went to school on a boat?
no,
Or
no,
work?
no, no.
Or
I actually caught a boat. Like I drove a boat to the bus stop
Okay.
because I grew up on like a river.
Okay.
And the excuse me, the bus was on the other side. So like I would
cool.
drive the boat down to the river, tie it up, and then go and catch the bus to school.
It said that's pretty cool, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Bull
really
riding.
cool.
Bull riding.
Motorcycles.
Yeah.
I've done some bull riding in my day.
They were comparing you two kind of
Oh,
to like the
nice.
article was kind of saying that you were kind of a redneck sort of, and she
Oh,
was kind of
nice.
a redneck sort of, and I was thinking, well, yeah, I kind of get what they're
Yeah.
trying to say, but
Yeah.
you've actually rode a bull.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, like my dad was like, even so I got two younger sisters as well, and like everyone, like we have all done it. My little sister, she wasn't that big of a fan of it, but like we got to an age, I think it was like 16, and Mum's like, "You're not allowed to do that," and we were filthy. Like we were so mad at her. We were like, "Dad, let's just not tell her," and then Dad's just like, I don't
die.
think so.
I'll die.
Right.
I think we tested it out, and it was just like, oh, if I break my leg and I come home and Mum's just
Wow.
like, I told you so.
Riding bulls.
There's another
Yeah.
word. She said filthy.
Filthy.
That means angry.
Oh yeah, she'd
Okay.
be angry at us.
Filthy angry.
Ta.
Filthy animal.
Filthy.
I thought that was interesting.
What?
Ta. T-A.
Oh, like
ta.
thank you.
Thank
like,
you.
Ta, yeah.
Ta.
Ta.
Like to maybe like a toddler would be like ta, and like give it to me. Give it to me.
Togs. Do you have your togs?
Togs?
Oh,
What was
bathers.
togs? What?
Bathers.
Bathers like your togs.
Swimsuit.
Like a
Bathing
bathing
suit.
suit. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Sook.
Sook.
What?
Sook.
Sook.
S-O-O-K.
Like I'm being a sook. Like I'm being a crybaby.
Sulking.
Yeah, sulking.
Man,
How about-
you guys have so many fun
I didn't even think
Sook.
that like I don't even look into this.
I
very
like this
much.
one. A slab.
A slab.
I'm gonna go buy a slab.
So it'd be like a block or something.
This one says a 24-pack of beer.
Yeah. Everything.
Get a slab.
A servo. A servo.
Fuel station.
Yeah. Gas station.
Servo. Oh, I'm thinking cerveza because you said beer. That's
Yeah.
Spanish. That's not really relevant.
That's really funny.
That's really cool. My favorite thing is when you say, "How you going?" Instead of "How are
and,
you doing?"
like, do you
how
guys,
you going?
Do you ever use like no dramas?
Oh yeah, no
what's that?
worries.
Yeah, it's like no worries.
No worries.
No dramas. I said it
Oh,
to someone
okay.
in an email the other day, and then when we actually met in person, they're like, I've taken on that no dramas.
yeah.
I was like, what
I
do
like
you mean
that.
you've taken it on? Like, I thought
I
that
like
was a
the filthy
natural
dramas.
thing.
Yeah. I feel like when
I'm
you leave,
filthy at
Silver's
you.
going to walk around
Filthy.
trying to use all of these words. He's going
Yeah.
to try to integrate.
I love the
but once
language
you're
thing.
gone,
It's so
you know.
cool.
Well, then when like I go and watch myself talk, I'm like, oh, like it's, I don't know, it's just embarrassing.
I don't know. I
sometimes.
think everybody hates hearing their self-talk. I hate
I
hearing
hope so.
myself talk.
Yeah.
I'm like, nah.
Absolutely
that's
hate
not
it. We're getting used to it now, but yeah. to see yourself on camera
Yeah.
talk or
That's the worst.
yeah,
isn't
it's
it?
totally the worst.
So we kind of touched on your childhood a little bit, taking a boat to school, but what was it like growing up in your house?
I reckon I had like the best upbringing, but everyone's gonna say that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think when I was growing up, my parents they were always out to show me a variety of things to make sure that I was able to kind of just dabble in different sports, different environments and experience just so much just to figure out what I wanted to do with the rest of my life. So, like I'm so grateful for what my parents have shown me and like what I've experienced because like when I went to school, no one in my class ever got to experience that. And so like they got really excited when they got to come over to my house and have like sleepovers and stuff because
Wow.
they'd like to
Do all the fun stuff.
Yeah, they'd learn so many things, and we'd camp out. Dad would have like a big bonfire and they'd learn how to ride motorbikes and go on the boat and just do things that they weren't used to. And
How old were you when you think you got on your first motorbike?
cool.
Speaking of Lakeland
I
now
know,
at 4
right?
on
Yep.
her little motorbike.
Actually, you know what? Like I said to Shane, I said, "Oh my god!" Like because she's just grown up so much in the last year since we've seen her last, and like I looked at her, I was like, that's exactly what I look like, because like the little curly hair and everything. But I don't even know. Like I maybe when I first started to walk, even it was
So really young.
crazy, really young. Yeah,
Wow, that's awesome.
yeah.
Did you have all sisters as siblings?
Yeah, so they're actually a lot younger than me.
Okay.
7 and 10 years.
Oh wow.
So I was a single child for so long, and I was spoiled. It was the best.
7 years of
It
running
was
the
the
show.
best.
Well, but the thing is in those 7 years, like, I would pretend because I wanted siblings so badly. Like,
Yeah.
I just wanted people to play with.
Yeah.
I pretended my parents were my brother and sister.
Yeah.
And they're like, "So where are your parents?" I was like, "I don't have any. I actually just have a brother and a sister, and they're over there."
Oh my
I
gosh.
was weird.
I don't have
Very
any.
weird kid.
That's awesome though. Where in Australia are you from now as it relates to the bigger cities?
So where Shane and I are currently living, we're about 6 hours or a 6 hour drive north of Brisbane in Queensland. So we're kind of like in the middle, like on the coastline, on the east coast, in the middle of Queensland.
Queensland's like the state. Would that be
Queensland's the
accurate?
state.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got it.
It's very biased, but I reckon Queensland's like the best state. It's so sunny. It's got good temperatures. Like I'm not very good with the cold, so
Yeah.
it's always quite warm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And very beachy and just the coastline's beautiful.
And you live kind of out in the country, so to speak, away from there, or
Well, so where I grew up, I lived about 20 minutes inland. So we were very close to the coast.
Oh, okay.
But we were still very isolated. So we still lived within like a city or a shire, if you want to call it that. But we didn't have neighbors for miles.
Yeah.
Wow.
And when we first learnt that we were moving just for Dad's work, and we actually had to move into a town, everyone was so worried about Mum and I because we had neighbours and we had to be quiet.
Oh,
You know,
wow.
like they were just like freaking out. We weren't used to it. We were very loud.
Sounds like
And,
around here.
Yeah, that's
Like-
pretty fitting.
Sounds
Oh
about
my
exactly
gosh.
right.
Yeah. But now in Gladstone, we're like right on the coast, but
Right.
there's not a lot of like we don't really swim there. Like if we're gonna swim, we'd actually travel 20 minutes south.
Why don't you swim there? Sharks?
Oh no! It like there are like there's sign like crocodiles. Like
just
could
better,
be there.
you know.
Silent?
But
You
Pardon?
said silent?
Signs.
signs.
Oh, I thought you said silent crocodiles. I'm like, holy smokes.
Streets are riddled with silent
This place is crazy.
crocodiles.
1 second you're having coffee and
Silent crocodile.
silent crocodile right behind you. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's funny. No,
Either way, I
It's-
mean,
I
silent
can't
or not.
hear. Come on.
no, like they say like just be careful in the rivers, but like we would swim in the ocean.
Gosh, that'd
It's
be rough.
just like it's just dirty, I suppose.
Okay.
Like it's more of like the harbour and
Gotcha.
a while back, because there's a lot of mining that goes on there, they were saying that there's a lot of contamination in the water, and which made out like that there was fish being caught with 3 eyes.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
I don't even know if that's true or not, but like
Well, Royce was saying that like the currents are real bad too, so you got to be careful. Like a rip current will take you, and they said people just like get taken out to sea and they don't even like look for them. They're just like, well, they're gone.
Like see ya. In our news, you often do see and like you hear about like people just like gone missing because they get caught in the rip, and it's so easy done, especially tourists.
Yeah.
Like they don't know how to swim and how to, I guess, like not panic
Fight
in
the
those
yeah.
situations. So
And then you
it
panic
is a
and
common
it's-
thing.
Jeez.
Wow.
Yeah.
They say like Australia is like, one of the most beautiful places on the planet, but there are a lot of things that'll kill you, like snakes.
We were talking about this the other day. They said as long as you stay on the outside of the country, you're pretty safe. If you go towards the middle, that's where stuff kills you.
Well,
and all the people are on the outside, right? Most of the cities are.
yeah,
on
like
the outside.
so basically everything's on the coastline, and then like you'll go in and there's like a lot of properties with like farmers, and like there's a lot of agricultural over there, but then like obviously when you go further into the center, it's just nothing, like desert or just outback.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's so beautiful.
cool.
It really is. It's you get I guess a bit of best of both worlds in a way, and we're very, very lucky. Yeah.
That sounds pretty
But
awesome.
like there is venomous things and things that bite you, but I think it just is played up so much.
I gotcha.
Like everyone gets snakes. You just got to be careful, you know.
Well, have you ever been bitten or attacked by anything that was like super venomous or life-threatening, or any of your family members?
No, touch wood.
Knock on wood.
Knock on wood.
Oh,
Here.
knock on
Yeah,
wood.
that's what
Yeah,
they-
okay.
Touch wood.
Or touch wood?
What was this about? Your head?
Yeah, like so
Okay.
if you don't have wood around, you just like
Okay. All right. Well, there was snakes on your pond the other day.
Snakes
Up at
in
your
the
dad's
pond,
house.
Ted videoed a rattlesnake, and
We've got stuff here.
See,
Right
like
in the
that,
driveway.
That for us, like a rattlesnake, that's like pretty eerie because you wouldn't really see one of them until you got like further out into
Right.
the bush.
Uh-oh.
Whereas like on our doorstep, we've had like 5 brown snakes, and like they're one of the most venomous in the world.
Jeez.
But like they only come out in the summertime. Yeah, in the
you
summertime.
had them on your doorstep.
Yeah, like you often so it is a thing
So
that
you like check outside first before you walk outside.
Before you.
no, it's more so like when you're coming home from training and it's dark.
Oh,
And you're like walking and you go to turn your key and then you're like, oh man, we should probably put the light on just to make sure that there's no snakes.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Wow.
It is, I guess, like that's something that we do actually look for.
You're not selling us on the whole.
Yeah.
There's nothing to kill you.
Well, it's
This
summertime.
rattlesnake was in my driveway about a half mile away from us, like not on our doorstep.
Wow.
I think they just seem to move around a lot through summer,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like there is a common thing that if you leave shoes outside, you want to make sure that before you put them on, you'll just like tap them.
Spiders
in
or
case
whatever.
there's spiders or like even toads. Like do you know what a toad is?
Yeah.
Big
Yeah.
Frog.
Yeah.
Dry frog.
A dry frog is it?
It's a toad.
It's like got like warts on the top of it. It's like really ugly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You don't know what a toad is?
I thought it was just a large frog.
You're from Florida.
It's like
right, and I thought it was
and
just
it's
like the big ones.
brown. It's like brown. And
I didn't
it's
know they
like
had
really
I thought
warts
toads
on
were
them.
smaller too. They're not really big, are they?
Oh,
Some
no.
of them can get
Some
huge.
of them can be
Really?
pretty big.
Ew.
Like not giant, but some
What's
of
the
them can
difference
be
between
really
a toad and a frog?
Well,
Like
like it's
it's a
fact check that. Where's
common
Kristen?
thing that you go like get the golf. Oh, I probably shouldn't say.
Oh yeah.
the toads
It'd be
went
all
for a
right,
ride. Got
You
it.
fit in just well here.
We'd
Just
be
fine.
fine with it, but
You just egged them on, and they nicely walked away.
Yeah.
Yesterday she was talking about hunting kangaroos. Like, when they were, back when she was younger.
so kangaroos are like plentiful,
yeah, but this
right?
is probably not something we should put on.
Oh, okay, sorry.
this
you
is
weren't.
a private conversation.
The nuisance ones. The
Oh,
ones
yeah.
getting in the fences and stuff
right,
like
right.
that.
Kangaroos are like plentiful, right? They're not like an endangered
no,
species.
no, they're really not.
Right.
But like you'll probably find that like the further you go into the outback, like into the bush, that they get like they're just overpopulated.
Right.
They're actually a nuisance.
Right.
But like no one really, like no one encourages it because it's on our emblem.
Yeah.
Right.
You know?
Well, we ate them when I was there. We had
Yeah.
kangaroo. Is
You
that
had
weird?
kangaroo.
What'd you think?
Of it? I thought it was just like chicken. We just grilled it.
Oh, really?
It didn't really
It's
like.
really tough. Like it's so lean.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
I
but
can't
it's-
say I ate
I mean,
a lot
the
of it
dogs
either.
love
It was
it.
like
The
we had
dogs
like a
love
bite.
it.
Yeah, they love it.
Interesting.
They should get a lot of hogs too, right?
Yeah, yeah. Like, I mean, where I grew up, we would always go out west. So, like more, like depending on where you are through like Australia, you'll get different types of ones. Like, some are just super vicious, like,
Jeez.
just like huge, and you know, like they'll need like 4 dogs to like take it down.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Yeah, like they're big. But then you'll get up to where Dad and Mum live up now. It's like the tip of Queensland, and they're a little bit smaller because like they're just running around a lot more. It's a lot hotter up there as well.
So they can't get as big.
And yeah, yeah, well for me it's fascinating.
Yeah, I heard a podcast where the guy was talking about cats, like our domestic house cats.
Yeah.
And he was saying that where he was at in Australia, they were really overpopulated. Like cats were just kind of.
Oh.
You've not heard that?
I mean,
Like
I
cats
don't
were just
know.
kind of in the wild instead of being domesticated at your house. They were really kind of running everywhere.
well, like we definitely get like a lot of wild animals. Like whether they've just been abandoned, I'm not too sure, but I was never allowed a cat, otherwise it'd be crab pot bait. So, yeah.
Yeah, we don't really have cats right
Like
here either.
cats and rabbits and all that. Yeah.
Right.
It just wasn't allowed.
Yeah, just didn't fit in.
There was more useful things for them. I
Right.
suppose.
Right.
Yep.
Circle of life.
Circle of life.
So, like, back to kind of growing up, do you remember the first, sporting event or athletic event that you won or did well in that you were proud of?
Like when I was like in
Like when you're
preschool
like
or
just
something.
the first memory of sport that you're like, man, that you were proud of yourself, like for winning something. You
Oh,
guys too.
We had this
You know-
yesterday.
No, that was like your first time you knew you were an athlete. This is the first time like you got a ribbon or you won something or you were like, yeah, I'm awesome.
For me, it was all about beating the boys, like at school.
Yeah.
And just like ripping in and getting in front of them and just putting them to shame. I didn't really care if it was like winning or not.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a weird thing because I've always
Competing.
a lot of people think like, you know, oh, you must be like so hungry to win. I was like, well, not really. Like it was more about just like, yes, dominating, but dominating the boys. I don't know why, which is weird.
No, I think
But,
that's awesome.
No, that's good.
Yeah.
You guys have a proud one?
I think it's that same theme. It's
Yeah, you
just
said your
to
medal thing
compete,
yesterday.
to actually just get
Yeah.
to play and get after it and
Yeah.
feel good about it that day. And
Yeah. Like I think it's not a common thing like football, like we can play touch, like a lot of females play touch and that type of thing. And they also play contact sports, so like your league or your union. But it's not as popular, like it's very male dominant. And I think like when Mum actually allowed me to go and do that, and then Dad started teaching me how to tackle, I was
Yeah.
like, oh, this is so cool.
Are
But
you talking about rugby?
No, Australian rules
Oh,
football.
Australian rules football.
Which one?
no.
Rugby,
So
okay.
so there's AFL, which is the Australian
Yeah.
Aussie rules.
We were talking to Royce about that yesterday.
Oh yeah. What did he say about it?
Oh, because I'd watched some of it before.
Yeah.
And so I kind of enjoyed watching it, but then we just had him kind of explain some
They
stuff
are
about it.
phenomenal athletes. Like
Yeah.
they just run
All
like
day.
and so fit.
Right.
You know. But where I'm from in Queensland, that's like the excuse the language, pussy
okay.
sport. Like that's like the
Yeah.
like it's not that tough.
Right.
Right.
Whereas like you've got league,
Rugby.
rugby league, and then rugby union.
Okay.
And yeah, like but now that I've grown up and I actually can appreciate the fitness level and like what they actually do.
Right.
Oh man, they're incredible what they can do. And the athletes that do league like or union, they put their bodies under a lot of strain and pressure with the contact. But man, the guys that play AFL, I can't believe how powerful they are, but how endurant they are.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
That's awesome.
That is cool.
Wow. If you weren't doing CrossFit, what would you be doing?
I actually think that I would probably be doing something like it's like Ironman, like
triathlon stuff.
Well, not so much triathlons, but it's like surf life saving. Or it's not really surf life saving either. It's like a
like a lifeguard.
No. So surf life saving is like your lifeguard on the beaches and everything. But they have like an Ironman athlete, and like not the ones that do like the 24-hour races, but they go around the world and like they go on like the paddle boards. Like they grew up doing like nippers.
Oh, okay.
Which, do you guys know what nippers is?
Nippers.
Nope.
Okay.
No, nippers.
I looked you like, oh, okay.
No idea.
Rich's understanding.
Yeah.
It's like a when you're a little kid, you'll go like on every Sunday morning, you'll go to the beach and you go in your age groups and you go and do like beach swims, and then you go and do board paddles, nippers, and it's like surf life saving.
Okay.
And we're not actually like
saving
lives or anything, but the point of it is obviously teaching the kids how to respond in the water, and
nice.
And you grow up and you become an Ironman.
Oh.
And so you go and you do like
kayaking or
well, it's not really kayaking, it's like surf skiing, and they go on like 55-mile like races and stuff in Hawaii.
Okay. It's like an adventure race of some kind.
Sun, water, fitness, instruction. Yeah, that sounds like a pretty rad job.
Yeah.
I'm not too sure. Like there's athletes in Australia that like
do that.
Literally do that, and that's their life and their career.
Yeah.
But I think that's probably what I'd do. And then I don't know what I would do as a job though.
Yeah.
Like that's something I'm still trying to figure out.
Yeah.
Right.
Hold that off as long as possible.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you have any like daily non-negotiables, like things that you do every single day?
Wash Shane's clothes.
Really? Okay.
You guys wear a lot of clothes, huh?
Like I have this thing about washing clothes. Like it has like I do not like a pile of dirty clothes. Probably because it's just how sweaty we all get, you know, and dirty. But that's something that I'll do on a daily basis.
You get coffee every day, don't you?
Yeah, that's not something that I'm
have to have
religious about.
Okay.
But I don't mind coffee.
Yeah.
It's more the social side of things.
Chatting.
Yeah, let's go grab coffee.
Right.
I just like to sit down, you know.
Rich does that.
not at all.
So much coffee. He just drinks so much coffee.
He's so
all
social.
The time.
I love the social
Yeah,
aspect.
that's
of
why
it.
you go.
Yeah. It's about the most
I tried
social
to like
I get.
one day he won't go to Poets.
Oh.
And so she's been coming into Poets, like,
Yeah.
and he won't go to Poets. And one day I had him like 20 feet from Poets. You know, he was like going to an attorney's office. I'm like, bro, come on, let's just go in there real quick. Come on.
Just walk
He's like,
through the door.
He just walks right past. Like, he
I
ain't
went
going
one
in
time
there.
in high school, and that was enough for me.
Wait, you just don't like coffee, or
One, I mean, I don't really like coffee. Two, I dated a girl that went to Poets a lot in high school. And so I was just like, I went one time, and it was just not my crowd. Like,
Right.
it's not.
Yeah.
That's almost like that time that I took Hobart and Angelo there. I was where I go and grab food in the middle of the day, and they were like starving. And I don't know what was happening. There was like a women's club meeting, or like,
Yeah.
I love hippies, like Hippies of America meeting or something. And there's like a line at the door, and James walks in and he's like looking at everybody, and he's looking at Angela. He's like, I'm so hungry. Like, I just can't wait to get up there and order. And he gets up there, and it's like past the lunchtime where they make anything. So the only things left were like little wraps or something. And he's like, I could be at Jersey Mike's right now getting 20 pounds of meat. And there's a salad with a piece of lettuce on it. And he goes, Angelo, we're leaving. They never came back. It was such a scene. I was so embarrassed. I was like, oh my gosh. So yeah.
It's
The
more
boys
about
just
the
have
social
issues
piece.
with this, like, dainty wraps. They're really good. But anyway.
Do you have to train every day, or can you like he's always moving. I mean, he doesn't take too many days off. Do you take a couple of days off here and there? Or?
I think it depends on the time of the season,
Yeah.
really. But there are days where I'm just like, I don't mind just watching Netflix and chilling.
Yeah.
I love it. I love the couch and I love being super lazy in that respect. But like, I don't think that would go down well for 2 days in a row or anything.
Right.
Yeah.
I definitely like to move. I know that every time I finish a workout or something, I'm like, oh yeah, that feels good. It's good to move the body. But like, there's days where I'm in the gym and I'm like, oh, I just wish we were out camping or something like that.
Right.
Or like we were doing something outside but wasn't involved in the gym.
Right.
Like, I don't mind moving the body, but actually having a bit of fun, like getting that adrenaline rush from something else, like going fast or, I don't like,
that's just not training. Yeah.
That's just not training. So I like training every single day. Like that's what I do. That's my life at the moment. And I've accepted that. And that's what I want to do.
Right.
But don't get me wrong. There are days where I just want to like go and do something completely different. Like I said to Shane, oh, it'd be so good if we could just go out diving today, like scuba diving.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Oh, like I would love that.
Right.
But the logistics of that, it's not just a 1 hour thing that you can just quickly go and jump into. You're actually going to have to dedicate the whole day to it.
Right.
You have to have all the gear, and we don't have that much time to go and do that, because we can really only do stuff that we'll give up like one day.
Yeah.
Whereas if you go out camping, you want to kind of go out for like 5
Couple
days.
days, yeah.
Well, and things that don't injure you, obviously, or risk injury, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, like with injury, I definitely am cautious of what I do, but I also don't want to let that hold me back either.
Yeah.
I think it's very important. Like, you got to live your life the way you want to live it without being scared. Mm-hmm. Because if you're thinking about injury,
that's when you get hurt.
most of the time, that's when you're going to get hurt. Mm-hmm. So just go and do it. And like, I think things happen for a reason. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's kind of how I look at it.
What's it like to have your husband be your coach? That's really unique. You guys are training together and...
Before that, what's it like to have a coach that, like, Shane is, he's there all the time, like talking to you throughout the workout and stuff like that. Like,
so
for
an interactive coach?
Yeah, for me, I couldn't handle it. Like, I could not, and he does a great job, but I couldn't handle somebody like critiquing my every move or talking to me in the middle of workout. You're like, hey, shut up. I'm moving as fast as I can. I remember having even Darren back when we first started, when we didn't have enough equipment, so only one of us would work out at a time. Yeah. And he wasn't my coach, but he'd be like, hey, pick it up, do this, and I'd be like, shut up, like, leave me alone.
There was a video of Darren talking to you maybe in
11. Yeah.
And you were behind going into the last day or whatever, and he was saying to you...
I was ahead, and I'd already won and locked it up. And it was the final event, and it was the sled pull. Like, we had to go through an event, rest, go through it again, a little bit farther, rest, and then do the whole thing. So I'd already locked up the points.
Okay.
And I knew I'd already won.
But he was like saying something like,
and
you're going to have to do a lot better than that
to
or something.
Pull the rope, and I looked at him, and I said, here, you do it. And like, we're in the tennis stadium. Because he was like in the front row just screaming at me. Yeah. And so like that's my deal with coaching.
Right.
So I don't even I don't know how
does that work for you guys?
It's your husband.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's crazy because it makes my life so much easier because I can go to the gym and not worry about having to be home at a particular time.
Yeah.
That's true.
Which is so convenient because like we're both in it together and we both want to do it. But don't get me wrong, there are days where I'm like, I quit. And it's just out of resentment,
Right.
And it's like, I quit because you just want me to push so much harder and I'm going as fast as I can. You go and do it. Like, I've actually said to him, I was like, you be the athlete. And
Hillary would kill me.
But there are times like I've got to realize step back a little bit. The only reason he's pushing me is because he wants me to succeed in the dreams that I want to achieve.
Yeah.
And, I think that's what's so important. You get to meet so many incredible people along the way. but you also get to meet so many people that are kind of just in it for themselves, and which is fine. Like it's just normal. It's just the way it goes. But I know that Shane genuinely wants to help me improve, and
That's so good.
he actually does
Great
really, really
perspective.
care.
Yeah.
And yes, we're in it for ourselves, but we're in it to help each other as well.
Right.
So we've been so fortunate where it's now his career as well, not just mine.
Right.
It didn't start off like that. It just started off with a little tiny goal that I was like, I kind of just threw it on him, and I was like, I want to make the CrossFit Games. And he's like, oh man, we got a lot of work to do then.
So what's Shane's background though? Like, does he have an exercise science background, or does he just likes CrossFit and
Nah.
kind of figured it out and
So
studied
it's,
it? And...
It's simply like he is a fitter and turner by trade.
Oh, okay.
A fitter and turner.
Do you know what?
Pipe,
So basically, oh man, I'm probably the worst person in the world to explain this, but you know what a diesel fitter is?
Yeah.
He's a fitter, but doesn't have to worry about okay, wait, hang on. So say you got a mine, like an actual like a gas plant or a refinery of like one of those multi-billion-dollar companies. Shane fits and like builds the machinery that the refinery uses. Where like a diesel fitter will like fit out like the trucks and like the moving. So that's the difference between them. So like that's the best way I probably can explain it. But his true passion has always been like sports. So he grew up playing a number of sports, but his main sport was union.
Okay.
Did you guys? You said you met when you were how old? 14?
Yeah, I was 14. Like we were both in school when we met.
You guys the same age?
No, he's 4 years older
4
than
years
me.
older. Okay.
But we met through like doing a lot like sports. Like we were playing touch football. I did some like we did some triathlon. He was doing team triathlon, and I was doing the open individual one. And yeah, I suppose like that, like just having those interests there.
Right.
That's kind of where we met, and that kind of kindled our relationship. But yeah, so he loved the gym and was always, trying to get fitter and stay healthy and stuff. And he started CrossFit for his union. So his whole union team was doing that. And at the time I was trying to get back into my track. So I was trying to get into like 400-meter hurdles. And I'd had a bit of time off, so I was really quite unfit. And he's like, you should give this CrossFit thing a try. And I hated it so because I had a bit of an ego.
Yeah.
I was like, man, I'm already fit. I
don't need this.
Yeah. And the coach that was on at the time, he was like a total douche. And I was like, I don't want to be anywhere near this person. Like, I'm not doing this. But then I actually kind of forced myself to do it because I could tell that it was improving my running.
Yeah.
Until I could tell it was improving my running, but I could tell that also my passion for CrossFit was getting greater than the
running.
my track. So that's when I kind of made that decision. I'm not going to do two of them. I'm just going to do the CrossFit and just, don't worry about track. Because I wasn't really, I didn't really know what I was trying to achieve with track. Whereas CrossFit, it just constantly challenged me. Like I was learning how to snatch, and it took me 6 months to know the right terminology for all the movements as well. So that was really, really cool.
Yeah.
And then, I think there was like I think we're going off tangent now. We're kind of going on to
no, that's good.
a different one. But it was like 2013, and I'd done the open, but I still didn't know what the open was for. I did it because our affiliate wanted to get as many people signed up so that they could get something free from CrossFit or something. So it was like 6 months into it where I was like still trying to learn what a snatch was, what a clean and jerk was, and then they did like these team comps. And I was like, yeah, I'll jump into that. Like, at least I'll have something to train for. And then by that time, like the opens came around again, and I was like, so what is this open thing, And they're like, well, there's at the very end of the season, like there's this cool thing called CrossFit Games, and I think there's like there's this guy who's like super fit and his name's Rich Froning. And then that was the year, was that? Yeah, that was like 2013 or something like that. And I was like, man, that's really, really cool. But I did not even care for the CrossFit Games or anything like that. And then like I found out that there was a regionals thing and I was like, oh, so maybe like I could actually, you know,
do something, do
something and like set goals. So I was like, okay, well, let's like give the Opens a bit of a crack. And then the Opens, like I made regionals and like that was unheard of in my gym. And I was like, oh, sweet. You know, this is really cool.
Yeah.
Went to regionals, hated it. Oh, man, I was so dirty. I was like, I thought CrossFit was like, you know, like I'm there to compete. I totally get that. But the competition, I'm sorry, but the girls were just terrible. Like there was just no, like for me, I don't mind going out on the floor and it's like, you know, to the death kind of thing. Yeah, let's fight. But out the back, I don't mind a bit of banter and like having a bit of fun and enjoying it. But it was just horrible. So I was like, I'm never doing that again. And it wasn't then until like my 21st birthday that we went to Las Vegas and the boys wanted to go to the CrossFit Games. I was like, I'm not going to the CrossFit Games to watch. If I'm going to the CrossFit Games, I'm going to compete, you know. But everyone wanted to go to the CrossFit Games and it was your last year in 2014.
Yeah.
And I think I was the one that enjoyed it the most. I was like, this is so cool. And it was funny because like I didn't care. Like I still at that point didn't want to make the CrossFit Games. I was just in awe of how incredible the athletes were out on the field. Yeah. Like to visually see it firsthand, like I was like, man, like they're putting their body through so much right now, you know? Like on TV, it's just like, oh, they're machines. Yeah. But in real life, you're like, wow, this is...
Wow, they're dying.
Yeah, wow, they're just crushing it. And I think that it put into a bit of perspective of like just how important it really was just to like, you know, keep pushing as an individual as well. And then I was like, you know, I'm going to go back to the regionals and give it another shot because like I didn't want to end my CrossFit competition at like 17th or whatever I got. Yeah. Like I wanted to give it an actual crack, and then that's when I made the games for the first time the following year. So it was like, it was interesting because it wasn't until like halfway through the Opens in 2015 when I was like, I want to make the games. Yeah. You know, like he actually said it and like actually meant it. Like, because like, you know, you get people that come into the gym and like they'll say, oh, you know, I want to make the CrossFit Games. What do I have to do? Yeah. Well, like it didn't work like that for me. Right. Like I actually had like tiny little goals that like helped lead me to it. Like it wasn't really, that wasn't my
That was your
goal.
End goal, yeah. To start.
Yeah. And it's quite fascinating now looking back at how it's actually worked out. Yeah. But where I was kind of going with this is like for Shane, when I actually, it was, I think, what was the workout? It was 15.3. It was wall balls, double unders, and muscle ups. Oh, yeah. And I don't know what happened, but I just let my subconscious kind of take over. And I was like, just bring it, you know, just go for it. Prior to the like 15.1, 15.2, I was like, ugh, Shane, I don't even want to do this. Why am I even doing this? Yeah. He's like, be a part of the community, Tia. You know, like just harden up. And I was like, fine. And then I don't even know why it was this particular thing. It was just something had hit me, and I finished that workout. I was pretty happy with my result. But it wasn't anything amazing. It wasn't like, you know, I'd won the open workout. Right. So I was like, oh, I got motivation. It was just something just clicked. And then Shane and I were getting in the car and I looked at him and he's like looking at me as in like, what's going on? Right. I was like, I want to win the CrossFit Games. And then from that moment, he was like, all right, like really? Like, yeah. Shit. Like he didn't know what to do because at that time, like we were just doing class workouts. Right. Yeah. So he started researching and figuring out what do we need to do in order to get Tia to the CrossFit Games, and, what are her weaknesses now? Like, what does she need to improve on? And he kind of in his own head, and he literally did this all by himself. I didn't help him at all.
Yeah.
I just told him this is what I wanted. And he's like, let's do it. And so following his passion for sport and the gym, he just kind of taught himself. And he also reached out to a weightlifting coach. And the weightlifting coach, he was a coach for an Olympian. So he also helped us learn our weightlifting technique. And then Shane's also kind of learnt that, but then also kind of grew from learning that and has also put it into, okay, what actually works best for Tia?
Right.
So has learnt so many different ways, and
It's cool.
he has done courses as
Right,
well,
right.
but he hasn't really he doesn't have a PhD or anything
Yeah,
like
no.
that.
Don't have to have one. I don't
No,
think.
you don't. And it's cool, he just knows you so well too.
Yeah.
Which is, he knows your emotions, he knows the way you move, he knows the whole thing, which is
Yeah.
really cool when you talk about trying to grow somebody like that.
It's fact. Honestly, I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for him.
Right, that's cool.
That's pretty
Yeah.
incredible. But you talk about too, having two things, going from track and CrossFit. We had a really interesting conversation the other day about the Olympics and CrossFit, and we were all saying would it be cooler to win the CrossFit Games or go
Right.
to go to the Olympics? And I just thought your perspective on that was so fascinating, because that's something that I don't know if anyone else will. I mean, who else has?
Anna
Anna Tobias has been an Olympian, but it's such a. I mean, talk about a small percentage. Can you just share a little bit on that perspective on is it more exciting to be at the CrossFit Games or the Olympics, or that experience for you?
Yeah, well, they're both so different. Going into the CrossFit Games, well, it changed. It's changed every single year. Going into it in 2015, had no expectations. I was a rookie, and the achievement was already made. Was actually trying to just get to the CrossFit Games. So whatever happened was awesome. It was cool. So to get second, that was quite shocking. And then the following year, to get second again, that was devastating. It was total different, total complete opposite to the other spectrum of the year before. And then to win the CrossFit Games last year, obviously I felt like I was on top of the world. So with the CrossFit Games, in the past years, I've been able to podium. I've had a chance, I've actually placed quite well, and I've gone into those competitions knowing that, except for the first year. Exclude that. Going into the Olympics, you, as a weightlifter, you know what your tallies or your totals are, and you can compare yourself to the other ladies. Now, in weightlifting, if you've done it before, you know that, well, that's kind of where I'm at.
That's where I'm at.
as an
Right.
Yeah.
individual.
You're not going to go out there and
So-
lift 100 more pounds then.
Unless someone bombs or all the people in front of you bomb,
Yeah.
then that's the only time you really have a chance. And the Olympics, that's no easy feat, you got people, I have athletes that are 58 kilos and they are warming up on my end weights,
Wow. Wow.
they're lifting twice as much as what I am lifting. But I can't, that's out of my control. I can't do anything about that.
No.
So my goal was simply just to place a good total for me.
Yeah.
And going into a competition like that, it's going into so exclude the whole fact that it's the Olympics. Going into a competition to participate, it's not really that fun. It's cool, but it's not really something that I train so hard for all year,
Right.
every year.
Right.
Right.
Going into a competition knowing that I have the potential to win, now that's exciting.
Right.
That's what gets me goosebump material,
Yeah.
So it kind of to compete at the Olympics was a true honor because I was representing my country, and that was actually my very first goal before the CrossFit Games and everything. So that was awesome. But I had achieved my goal. I had achieved I went to the Olympics and that was awesome. But to participate and when I compare the Olympics to the CrossFit Games, I'd have to say there's a lot more excitement for me because I know that I have a little bit more potential to win at the CrossFit Games, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
makes perfect
It's
sense.
so hard because that can kind of get taken out of context in a way where people will, say, oh, she didn't like the Olympics. That's not what I'm saying at all.
No,
No,
I get it.
of
For
course
sure.
not.
It's
yeah.
just
But it's
it-
not
You're just a true athlete, and if you're going somewhere to compete, it's a different feeling than show. I mean,
You're a competitor.
yeah, and you said, I mean, representing your
good
country's
sense.
amazing.
Perfect
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
I mean,
I mean, when I said it, the weightlifting coach, so his name's Miles, he said to me, like, when I walked in and I was training, and he knew kind of the numbers I'd hit prior to learning technique. And he's like, you could go to the Olympics if you wanted to. I was like, who is this guy? Like, he's just met me an hour ago and he's saying this.
Right.
But, like, for some reason, the belief that he had in me, it kind of was like, oh, okay, let's do it then. And it was like, it was so amazing to actually make it to the Olympics.
that's cool.
Yeah.
Like, that was a win in itself.
Yeah.
But, yeah, when I compare competing at the Olympics to competing at the CrossFit Games,
Yeah.
the CrossFit Games is something that's very special to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well, two different complete kinds of satisfaction.
Yeah.
Yeah, both are very worthwhile, but
Yeah.
they mean different things. That's cool.
Yeah. I guess, like, as a rookie going into the CrossFit Games, it probably would have been the same, like, they don't really know what to expect at the CrossFit Games for their very first year. So just making it to the CrossFit Games, that they've achieved their goal,
Right.
so they're going to be so stoked.
Yeah.
And so whatever happens on top of that, it's awesome. That was like me at the Olympics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's pretty incredible, though, too, just hearing the words you say, like, some person had a belief in you that you could make it to the Olympics,
Oh,
and you were
yeah.
like, okay, let's do this. I mean, that's pretty
Yeah.
incredible that, like, and it goes to show, too, like, just when anyone in life actually instills that tiny bit of belief in you and you trust them, how far that can actually take you and help you,
Yeah.
I mean, you just said that, like, your second place finish was really challenging.
Yeah.
And that the next year you came to win. So, what was your mindset after your second place that gave you the strength to, well, come back and just win? I mean, I feel like that's a pretty big thing to just get through.
Yeah, I think, like, people can tell you, oh, yeah, you're going to win. You can do this. Like, you're going to do this. But you need to actually truly believe it within yourself. And winning coming second at the 2016 games, that was my realization. That was what kind of turned it around for me and made me realize, like, I'm just as good as my idols, and, like, I think about it, and I think, there's so many people that have said, oh, Tia's worked on her head game and she's so much more mentally fit. And it's like, well, I've actually always been mentally strong.
Yeah.
I'm even stronger now, yeah, but that's just come from experience. And it's fascinating because in my mind, it wasn't that I was mentally weak or it was a little bit daunting to know that I was actually standing on the same line as my idols.
Yeah.
That was what was the realization for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't look at that as being mentally weak. I just look at that as being like, whoa, like a little bit maybe out of my depth at the time.
Just inexperience.
Yeah.
And,
That's
Yeah, it
all
all
it is.
happened for you so quickly. I feel like a lot of people, especially in the CrossFit space, it's not like you show up your rookie year and you get second. It's this long process. I mean, obviously not barring you. You were like pioneer. Good job. But for most people other than, people like Rich and yourself, like, you don't just show up and win. So for people to say that's being mentally weak, no, you're just doing something that no one's done before. And to do that without
Yeah.
experience is, a pretty challenging thing to do.
Yeah.
You know?
It was fascinating. And I mean, at the time, like, coming second in 2016, like, it was the best thing that happened to me. But at the time, I was gutted, like, absolutely gutted. And then on top of that, to have people accuse me of being the wrong person to go and compete at the Olympics, that was even more annoying because it was like, well, you know what? Like, I was the one that came out and I hit what I needed to in order to make it. So don't take that away from me because I've worked so damn hard for this.
Yeah.
Regardless if I've done 2 sports, 3 sports, 1 sport, it doesn't matter. I've trained. I know I've trained the best and the most out of all those athletes.
You're talking. Have you guys read that article where the guy, some idiot, said that she obviously wasn't. You were basically said you weren't taking the Olympics seriously because you were doing the CrossFit Games. You're just like, what an idiot!
Oh my gosh!
It's
a completely stupid thing to say.
Stupid thing.
You're working harder.
I mean,
in some cases,
and that's how I look at it too.
Right.
You know, like I'm trying to better myself so much that I'm actually thinking outside the box and trying to not only just develop my like core to extremity, but like I'm developing my fitness, I'm developing my strength, like so much that like this is what I needed to do in order to compete at the best possible, just to compete at the Olympics at my absolute best.
Yeah.
You know, it was so. Like, I actually didn't even waste my time reading that article. I just heard so much about it.
Right.
Yeah.
And, like, apparently he reckons that, you know, the CrossFit Games, you do these bizarre movements like handstand walking. It's like, what? You're insulting incredible gymnasts like that train for so many hours of the day.
Yeah.
Gymnastics is like a world-renowned sport.
Like, I wonder if he can do a handstand.
Like, what a douchebag.
Somebody like that just exposes themselves for not knowing anything.
Yeah.
Like literally having zero persptive about what's going on.
That just reflects poorly on the person writing the article.
Oh yeah,
unfortunately.
he's he's not even worth talking about.
What was different for you as a person? Not, you know, between that last second place and then winning, you know? What's different at the personal level? I know you talk about not necessarily CrossFit, but just who you are as a woman and
as a person. I don't really know. It was something deep down inside me that was like, there was so much. I wouldn't like, for some reason, like, it's not hatred, it's not like disgust, it's just more like it's disappointment. There was so much disappointment deep down inside me that I didn't just let down myself, I let down Shane. So like, in my eyes, the way I look at us as a team. You know, yes, there's a lot more to the team, like your family, your friends, people that may have helped us along the way, but in the core, it's Shane and I. And all year round, he does his job to program for me, to coach me, and tell me like what I need to do in order to prepare myself to the best possible, and have the best possible preparation I can. Then, when it comes to game day, that's my job now to actually execute what he's taught me, what he's trained me to do. So when I didn't go out onto the field every single time and just annihilate the workouts. And I know that there's going to be workouts that may not be in my favor, but still there was times where I look back and I have slight regrets, like, oh, I stopped there rather than just constantly pushing through the hurt, or I may have just given up that 1 second, and it could have just taken 1 second for me to actually overcome that and just execute the workout to the best of my ability. And so I felt like when I came second again, I was devastated and disappointed in myself that I was like, oh, you just didn't believe in yourself that much that you actually let the team down. And that disappointment turned into fuel for the fire. So all year,
that's legit.
like, I didn't care who it was I was going to beat. I was just going to be the best. And like, because every athlete, they improve every year, and there's always going to be new athletes that appear. And so I didn't have a particular person that I was wanting to beat. It was just, I wanted to beat everyone. And I have the exact same thing this year, but it's just a different fuel this year. I think every single year, there's always different fuel. Like, it's always something different that and you've always got a different why. You know, it's fascinating, And at the time, you don't realize it until you actually look back and you're like, wow, I can't believe I felt like that. Like, yeah, oh man, I reckon I was very emotional. Very emotional after coming second in 2016. And I didn't realize how important it really was until I actually lost it.
It's so good to hear you talk about it, to get to hear your perspective, because if you just watch some video, you don't really understand what's really going on in somebody's head or their heart. You don't understand it for what it really is.
To be honest, I've actually never spoken about it like this.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Wow.
I've just, like there would be times like Shane and I, because we had to fly so we finished the games the next day, the 6th, we flew to Miami and we started training for the Olympics. So to be able to switch that emotion off of that disappointment and just keep training, that was very hard, because I'd be in the middle of a set and I'd just be like, just break down crying, because I was just like, I'd just look at Shane, I'm like, I've just let him down.
Wow.
And it was just so emotional. And you're in like a beautiful place, like you're in swimming in the ocean, and all of a sudden I just started crying. I'm like, this is just not good.
Yeah.
Harden up. But there was just so much disappointment there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, so shift gears. What was going through your head when you stood at the top of the podium last year?
Well, that was an interesting thing, because like I thought I actually lost again.
Oh gosh.
So because I needed to beat Cara and that's all I needed to do.
Right.
But she just nipped me on the line. Like I was happy for her. Like, well done. If anyone beats me, like I'm always like, you deserve it. You worked harder than me, obviously. Like, you deserve it. Good job. But when I looked back on myself, I was like, you don't even deserve to be here. Like, get off this stage.
Wow.
Let them celebrate what they've just achieved and go home. Like, don't even go home. Like, I was so gutted. Like, I was just like, it wasn't disappointment that year. It was rage. And then when Dave actually announced that I won, oh my God, it was like a breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
Like it was
Talk
so much
about a roller
relief.
coaster. Jeez.
I was like, I finally won it. And in my head, I actually thought, I finally won it for Shane. But it wasn't just for Shane, it was for me. But I think I felt like that because I felt like I let him down so much the year before that I was like, you know what, this is for you. Like, I dedicate this for you because, like, I'm so sorry of what I put you through last year,
Yeah.
It's a funny thing, but whereas he's the complete opposite. He's like, oh man, like the coming second for 2015, awesome. 2016, he's like, I didn't prepare the best that I could have.
Right.
He was so upset with himself, and he was so sad for me because he's like, we were the complete opposite.
Right.
Yeah.
We both thought that we let each other down.
Yeah.
That's
And
cool.
then when he thought that I lost again last year, he was just like, oh, I need to find a better coach for her.
Oh, wow.
No, but
I'm out.
it's, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It was
that's awesome.
it was interesting. I have a question. Going from 2014 to 2015, like what made you realize like, okay, that was the year that it was your last year and you're going to do teams? Like, why did you make that transition? And
Lakeland.
Yeah.
In 14, we were going through a whole adoption process, and I just realized that I could not put the time. You can't serve two masters. You ever heard that term?
Yeah.
And it was either the way I am when I compete as an individual is I'm obsessed. Like, that's what I do. That's what I think about. It's all I think about. And I knew that I didn't want to be that way while having Lakeland. And so it made perfect sense. I think, honestly, I probably had another year or two that I could have competed as an individual, but I wasn't. One, I'd been doing it for a while and I'd had enough, but two, it was like Lakeland was more important than that, and now having three, there's no way I could compete as an individual. I just
Yeah.
don't sleep enough.
Yeah. Well, it makes sense. And like the difference between individual and team, like how does that I remember back in the day, I remember you saying something about, you can physically keep pushing through it. Not easy, but it's mentally challenging. It's more mentally challenging than it is physically.
Yeah.
And like, how do you deal with that in comparison, like, to individual and team?
I think it's a little easier, honestly, to push with a team because you have those other people that are relying on you. You're talking about having the team part with Shane and stuff like that. But on a team, like, these guys are in here every day suffering with me, with all of us are suffering together. And so I grew up playing team sports, so it's more of a fit. Like, growing up, I never played, baseball has some individual sides of it, but you're always playing for a team. And so doing CrossFit as an individual was completely new to me. I'd never, if I screwed up, it was like, well, there it goes,
Yeah.
And so now it's different. It's a lot more fun. I have more fun being on a team, honestly.
Yeah. I think I would have a lot of fun. I don't know if I'm very much an individual.
Right.
And I've always, like, I play team sports, but, in all honesty, I can't rely on other people to step
That's
up.
hard.
Like, because, like, it is very hard. Like, when I think about teams, I think, wow, like, kudos to them. And what do you guys know what that means?
Yes, we know kudos. We got that one.
We know kudos. It's a candy bar. No, I'm just kidding.
Candy bars for everybody.
Actually, this is off topic, but candy, we always call it lollies.
Lollies. I like that.
So
Like
when
a
we're over
lollipop?
here and they're like, you want some candy, I'm like, no, not so much candy, because candy I look at, I think, really hard lollies.
Oh, okay.
I'll be like, no, I'll just have like lollies, like jelly things,
Oh, okay.
or
Yeah.
like
Gummy
chocolate or something.
bears.
Yeah.
So
Gummies.
many good words.
But like, I'll look at a team and I'll think, like, that's amazing, because that's something I couldn't do. I couldn't let, like, if I'm not in control out on the competition floor, like, oh man, I don't know what, like, I'd lose it.
That was hard for the first year. You're kind of like just standing there like, why are you not going? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
But you're keeping those emotions in and not showing that type of stuff. It was hard, but it's completely normal.
Yeah.
But
Was it hard for you, like, when you decided to make that transition from an individual, like, knowing that you're a regional, like, athlete and you're trying to make it to the games, and then you're like, you know what, I'm going to have to probably put that aside and be a part of a team?
I think I was in a unique situation because I went from, that pursuing that goal as an individual, obviously trying to get to the CrossFit Games, to going to trying to not let the fittest human being on the planet down. My fitness escalated exponentially. And I say it over and over again. I said on the last podcast, like, you are who you surround yourself with. And I never truly understood that or believed that until I moved here. And every aspect of who I am has been elevated. I say it over and over again, but I come in here and I do things I never thought imaginable because I'm forced to. Because Rich forces me to. Because Jim challenges me mentally and physically over and over again. And it was, at the CrossFit Games that year, so many things that I'd never done before just did. And I think that's just a testament to anybody. So you put yourself in that situation. For me, it was like being on a team was 100 times harder than being an individual. Because yes, you let yourself down. But if you say you put yourself on a team where, you were surrounded by 3 of the other fittest people on the planet, like, you would die. I would die. I would fall from the top of the Zeus rig before I let him down.
Yeah.
It'd just be worth it. Like, there's no other way to do it. You know what I mean? So I think if you align yourself in that regard with the right people.
I totally agree. Like, I think that's awesome. Like, I don't know about you guys, but a lot of people have asked me, like, why are you coming to Cookeville to train? Like, and previous years I've gone to San Diego to train with Josh, and it's like, oh, like, so why do you do that? And it's like, well, I want to put myself in a position and surround myself with people that aren't putting limitations on themselves, so that it makes me want to look beyond my goals and look beyond my dreams and values, so that, like, because, like, as soon as people put limitations and they're like, okay, this is what I want to achieve, well, like, once they achieve it, like, what's going to happen after?
Yeah.
Like, so you can't do that.
Yeah.
You've actually got
putting
to...
a ceiling on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, it's incredible. And Yeah.
Yeah, we talk about it's really they're competing for what they believe in and who they are, not necessarily the end goal. Although he wants to win, he wants success. He's surrounding himself with a lot of people who want to do the same things he wants to do, but it's really kind of outside that self thing that we were talking about. I love that about your story.
Yeah.
You know, you were competing for Shane almost.
Yeah.
You know, that wasn't really about you a whole lot. You know, and there's a lot of similarities when you guys start talking about your stories. The story's different, but that motivation's still really the same.
Yeah. Well, it's crazy. How are we going for time?
We're about there, but go ahead.
So it's crazy because, and it's probably something that I'm only just realizing. I think that it's just coming from experience, maybe reading more, talking to more people. But like when I think about it, it's. Sorry, I just want to make sure I'm explaining.
No, you're good.
Right.
Yeah, go ahead.
Right?
You're good.
But when you're going out to achieve your goal, like all I wanted to do, I just thought it was a 2-year thing. Like I didn't actually look at the CrossFit and CrossFit Games as like a career opportunity. I looked at it as like a hobby, and I was just going to go to the Olympics and the CrossFit Games in the same year. That was like my actual end goal. But now that I look back on it, I was like, whoa, I wonder if the reason I just put that limitation on myself for only 2 years, like, yes, I achieved it.
Mm-hmm.
However, if I didn't just put that like goal there and think, yep, that's all I want to do, I possibly could have won that year. Like if I just truly believed in that. But I only realized that now looking back.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it's crazy. Like the last year, I've been like, you know, it's not just about winning the CrossFit Games anymore. It's about seeing how far I can go as an individual. It's really insane.
Yeah, be a better person.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. This has been one of the best podcasts ever.
Yeah, that was
It
great.
was really fun to hear
good.
you talk. That was really cool.
Winner.
Yeah.
Winner right there. Awesome. Well, good luck next week.
Oh,
We'll be there
same
with you.
to you guys.
Yeah.
We'll be there. So if you need anything, let us know.
Yeah.
We'll be right.
It's going to be so much fun.
You're leaving.
I'm so
You're leaving
excited.
today though, so yeah, you'll be gone. Cool. All right. Well, CrossFitMayhem.com. Check us out. Peace.
Bye.